Hello and welcome to You Sew You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a drop spindle, I dabble in weaving from time to time and anything else that takes my crafty fancy. But today we are looking at the progress I'm making on my current weaving project. So grab a brew, put your feet up and let's get started. So welcome back to any returning viewers, and to any new viewers a very warm welcome to you. As I mentioned in the opening to this video, we're looking at my current weaving project. So this is another weave with me video. If you are weaving along, feel free to grab your bits and pieces and we'll get going in just a moment. And if you are weaving along or if you're doing something else as you're watching, drop me a comment down below and let me know what you're getting up to because I'd love to know. So I'm going to be looking at my next hill on my weaving project and it's going to be a striped hill. So let me get the camera switched around and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so as you can see, I've done my sumac hill here. It's a bit shallower and smaller than I'd initially intended, but as it's my own design, that's not too much of a problem. But it does mean I've been able to increase the size of this striped hill, which is not a bad thing. I've also been able to add this much space onto this tabby hill here. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not a problem. So the order of operations, I'm going to do this striped hill next, then this sumac hill here next, after the stripes. Then it'll be this tabby one here. That's because of the way that I'm planning out having the hills sort of move behind each other. So I've got my butterflies sorted out already from these two yarns. We've got this variegated one here and this West Yorkshire Spinner sort of mottly green one there as well. I may end up using them in some of the hills further on as well, because I've got a fair amount left of these. But the next decision I have to make is which direction I'm going to do the stripes in. I could go side to side and fill in the shape this way, so they're horizontal. I could go this way, so the stripes move across the hill in that direction, or I could go this way and the stripes move across the hill in that direction. Whichever way I choose, I will probably choose a different direction for this hill up here, because this one, although I've gone tabby question mark when I planned it out, I'm thinking I'm probably going to do that as a striped hill now. So whichever direction I'd go in these hills, I'll go in a different direction on this one here. So yeah, so I've got a decision to make and then we'll get going. Okay, so I've made my decision. I'm going to go this way with my stripes across the shape of the hill. As you can see, I've put in my first couple of stripes here. Each stripe takes 2 picks, so you go through the closed shed and through the open shed for each stripe. So I'm going through my closed shed and then my open shed. You can do it the other way around if you want to, it's entirely up to you and however your weaving is progressing. So where you've got to, you want to use the next available shed, but obviously the sumac didn't use the sheds in the same way, so it kind of doesn't matter too much. There, go with your preference. So I've done the darker colour first and then the lighter colour. So I'm now ready to go back with my darker colour and I'm going through the closed shed first. So I'm going to pick up the warps to create that shed and I'm going to bring my yarn around the outside of the other colour. And lay in that whole pick. So I'm just picking up the warps that I need to pick up. So bring the ones that are behind to the front to create that closed shed. The closed shed is the one that is closed when the warp is just sort of lying as it wants to lie. And the open shed is the shed that is sort of naturally in place once you've warped your loom. So we're going to go to there. So bringing that first shed to meet the tabby hill on this side. So bringing the weft thread through at an angle, creating our little humps and beating it down. I'll give you another angle on this later on, a bit further away, so you can see how it's fitting in overall. I'm just going to do a couple of stripes as is first. We don't need that warp yet, so I'm carefully watching where the warps are coming out of the tabby hill to work out how far across I need to go before I come back through the open shed. And I'll take a similar approach when I get to the other end and I'm looking at the line on the cartoon. So the cartoon is the plan underneath, it's the weaving word for the pattern. Bring my warp through at an angle, making these little humps. You do want to beat it down hard enough to encase the warps as best as you can. I do find that improves as you get further up the weaving, because obviously gravity. But you don't want to beat it so hard that you shift around the weaving that's underneath it, particularly this sumac, because it's done in a different way. Do find it shifts a little bit. So it's a bit of a balancing act to find there. So again, we're going to take our yarn for our next stripe around the outside of the one we've just used and go through the closed shed. So I'm going to pick those warps up. And take my yarn through between them. All the way across to the hill on this side. So make sure you've got plenty of weft in there. The reason you put it in at an angle and make these little humps is to help with the tension. So if you have too little yarn in there, it's going to pull your warps in tighter and mess things up a bit, and your sides won't sit quite so nice and neatly. It's something I've been working on with my weaving. I'm definitely getting better, but it's something to be constantly aware of. So back through the open shed to the beginning of your stripe. You're obviously paying attention to where your previous colour is as you get to the end of this second pick, because you need to bring it round the outside. You obviously don't want to go past it. Not that it's a difficult thing to do to undo the weaving, but you want to be stopping at the same point or slightly before the colour that you're swapping to, so that you can bring it around the outside rather than trying to come up and over what you've already woven. You want it to be quite close, so that you're not getting lines of the other colour coming across where you don't want them. But yeah, you definitely want to stop before it, but only just before it. So I've made an error here. I've missed one of the warps in my open shed. So what I'm going to do is just pick up the ones that I've gone under, bring my weft back through, and then just try again. So yeah, it is nice and easy to undo mistakes. As long as you spot them when you make them. It's obviously a lot harder once you've got all the way up the weaving to fix them. But if you've spotted them within a pick or two, particularly when it's short rows like this, it's fine. You can fix it nice and easily. So I'm going to keep going with these stripes. You can already see them starting to form here. And I'll come back to you when I've got a few more in place. Okay, so this section might be a little bit noisy. I've got the window open because it's quite warm in the craft room. And I live quite near a road where lots of lorries go down. So if you hear traffic noise, that's why. But you can see that I've got a few more of these stripes in now. I'm at the point where I'm trying to follow the curve round over the top of the hill. So I'm actually stopping my return pass, my open shed pick, a couple of warps before the previous colour, just to ease it around the curve, whereas down here I was stopping the warp before the change of colour, so it's more of a diagonal line there. You can see where the wefts are curling around each other as they come around the outside to start the new stripe off at the edge here. If you were doing stripes all the way across a weaving, they would wrap around the outside warp, so you wouldn't be able to see them, particularly in the finished piece, and they should blend in a bit as I put the outline of the hill. Oh, there goes a lorry. As I put the outline of the hill in, they should sort of blend in a bit, as the edge of this tabby did and as the edge of this sumac did. So I'm not concerned by that at all, and even if they do show, they don't look messy. And it's just the way that I've had to turn around the row, so they still look quite neat, so it's not a problem. So I'm going to continue working across this way in the same way until I get to the end. Obviously once I get to this point on the tabby hill, so my stripe hill is coming around here. Okay, so we've got the striped hill done all the way to the end of that hill, so it's curving around that way. So I'm just going to outline it with this yarn, and that'll be that one done. So I've shown you how to outline this before, so I'm not going to do that on camera, but you'll see it next time I come back and look at the next hill. So we've got the sumac hill next, then a tabby hill, and I'm probably going to do this one striped, as I say, to balance out with this one, because then we've got two of each technique. So I hope you found that interesting and useful. I aim to put a video up every weekend, so if you've enjoyed spending time in my company, feel free to like and subscribe and ding the bell like everybody tells you to do down there. Once a month it's a roundup of what I've been working on in the previous month, and in between times this video is a bit more like this, where I'll look at a particular project that I'm working on or a technique, something like that, and give you a bit more of an insight into how I actually go about doing those things. So I'd love to see you in the next one, but until then, happy crafting and bye bye for now.